Hi, everybody. Welcome to Trader Minute. It's great to have you aboard. I'm Carl. Thanks for tuning in. And AK, I had a good question on Texan, and this is what I look at. And if you've been around the site for a little while, you've heard me say this quite often. And when I'm looking at things technically, when to get out, when to hold, and things like that, this is what you're going to hear me say a lot of times. All right. So now, when stocks are trending, uptrend, downtrend, whatever it might be, one thing you're going to notice is whenever they break out of a level of resistance or a level of breakdown below a level of support, they'll normally come back and retest that level. So let's follow Texan here for a while. Okay, so if we go back here, here's some resistance from back here in May. You can see the level it hit right here, right? Well, it fell off that level, came back up to it, and what happened? Well, the stock broke the level, came back and retested it, right? And the retest held. Now, that's likely earnings right there, okay? But as you can see, it came over to the level, it retest held, right? Then where's the next level of resistance? Okay, right through here, right through that level. Came back up to it, came back and retested it, and held one day to eventually fall back below it. So in this case, the retest failed, okay, but it became a pretty strong level within a very short period of time. It shot right back up through it, came back to it again, and held it this time and pushed higher. Okay, so where's the level right now? So you look at 42. There's 42 right here. You can see over here, you can see, well, it might have, did it go through that day? It didn't. It tried. It gapped up, but ended up closing back at 42 and tried to break through it right here, right? Didn't break through it. Finally, we get the break on this day right here. And so what are we doing? Well, we've come back and we've retested that level yesterday. It closed below the 7, but we're right there at 42. And that's why I say I'd give this to 42. If this, to me, the overall trend's still intact. It's still got an uptrend going. There's nothing here saying that it's going to just get extremely weak all of a sudden and break back down. Okay. Hey, options, snip up. So I'd give this thing 42. If there's a good chance right in here that this is going to hold, and today's action is holding, it's up above, it's up 10 cents. There's a good chance if this thing breaks up off of this level here, pushes off 42, what it just did is locked in a new level of support at a higher level, which is very bullish, and this stock's probably off and running again. So that's what I'd give this thing around at the 42. If you look at most stocks, let's look at MRO. You'll see the same thing, you know, and we're looking at a gravestone doji here, but as Jeff said this morning, we're 2.5 hours into the day. We're going to look at this. If it's here at the close, near the close today, we got a decision to make. But this early on, things can change a lot. Okay, but with MRO, let me zoom in on this slightly. Okay, the level of resistance, yeah, you could argue 35.5. You could also argue 36. The reason I say I could argue 36 is, well, look at 36. Look at all the times it tried to get up through it, and it never held it. So there's just a lot of sellers right up here above the 36 mark, and it keeps pushing it back down. Well, it got through 36. It hit it here, gets up through it. Now the retest came back a little bit and has pushed up off of it since. Now this little candle right here is a pretty bullish candle. It ran higher, back down, but by the end of the day, pushed back up off the 7 again. Pretty volatile day, but overall, a pretty bullish candle. See this still closing above there. So we're up here pushing above the 36.5 mark right now and nearing, past level. You could call that some resistance, but as Jeff has pointed out, you look at the volumes on those days when it hit those resistance levels, there's just not a lot there. If it hit resistance on some really heavy volume, say something like that, then I might be worried that's a really strong level of resistance, but it's on lighter volume, those levels up there. But we'll watch this keep throughout the day. So now I've had people say, well, hey, if you know a stock's going to turn down a retest, why do we jump when it's breaking up through, showing a sign it's breaking up through resistance or looks like it's going to break up through? Well, sometimes stocks will just run through it, and if you waited for a retest, it doesn't come back for you. It just takes off for a while. All right, so that's why we get in. A little bit of a retest around those levels isn't anything unusual. It's very, very common for those stocks to do that. All right. Okay, so I just wanted to get on and share that with you because whenever you hear me talking about retest, it's retest. Oh yeah, okay. I just read in the chats there. Whenever you talk about retest, that's what I'm talking about. And when stocks break, and the same thing. Let's look at a downtrending stock and like a BlackBerry. Now, when they happen to come back and retest a level, and BlackBerry just falls so hard so fast, it's hard to get any type of a technical take on that. All right, but here, let's look through some of JCPenney on their downturn over here. Now this is right here is going to be an example of, so there's some support right through this level right there. Okay, gets through support. Now this is one of the cases where the break and it just kept running. If a stock breaks and it just keeps running, that's ultra bearish. And that's why we enter in just when it looks like it's going to break like that, because that can happen. Now, the strong levels of support right here, okay, well, here it broke through it one day, came back to retest it the next, well, 2 days later, and the retest failed, and man, it's just such hard selling here, it never came back again. All right, but in most cases on stocks downtrending, it'll come back just like on stocks in an uptrend where it pulls back and retest. When it breaks to the downside, it will come up and retest that prior level of support. See if it locks in as a new resistance level, which can push, just reaffirms that the trend, I mean, the level has broken and it's likely to head down on a retest to the downside. Okay, I just want to get down real quick, share that with you. If you have any questions, I'll be on chat. Jeff will be back shortly, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.